Eddie at Weoley Tropicals. Just thought I'd do a really quick video today as I was scrolling through my phone, just to show the growth of our garden and how it changed. So when we first moved in, it was like a garden of clipped like hedges and topiary, you know, that kind of thing. And every year just jet washed it and mowed the lawn. Through COVID, when we were supposed to be going on holiday to Mexico, we got all our money back, and so I thought I'd bring Mexico to Birmingham. Started off with going to home base and getting a load of compost, some bluegrass and some cordylines and some wooden edging for the front, and took all the hedges out. As you can see, the growth there was sensational really quickly. That took over on the first year. The first palm trees arrived, which was really exciting. Trachycarpus fortunei. Wasn't exciting as to drag them all the way to the back of the garden. It took an absolute ton of strength to get them there. The first point that I'm going to make over 6 different points on this video is to give you some tips. First thing was soil. I spent 2-3 months digging this out. I broke 3 shovels. This was well-rotted horse manure, 2 tons of the stuff. Dug it all over winter, kept turning it over, and that gave me the right foundation. The second point, which goes on to this, was evergreen first, to get your bone hardy plants, your Trachycarpus fortunei, your 10x, Formiums. Got a Washingtonia robusta, which didn't make it, and get your winter kind of interest, your evergreen stuff in first. The last thing you want is a garden that looks great for 4 months and then looks terrible for the other remaining 8, with being wrapped up or in a greenhouse being dug up. The third point is limit the tenders. Your tender plants like your cannas and things like that can grow to die back to the ground, and if you cover them over, or if you dig them up, they will come back next year. But I walk out in the garden all the time and there's massive gaps everywhere. We did paint the back fence on there, and that was the reason being was that was just to get rid of the fence looking like it was the focal point, and to put the plants back as the main interest. The path got dug out, got removed from that boring thing on the right hand side. The stepping stones go down to the middle of the lawn. I fed the garden really well with like some chicken manure pellets on the other side that didn't have the well-rotted manure. Created a new border at the back which has bamboo in it, Tetrapanax rex at the front, a Fatsia on the left, a Donax, which is like the white grass on the right hand side, lupins and some other bits and bobs. And Muzabastu was the best buy that I did. Again, on the edging, put some more evergreen stuff in. Looking back on the garden, there's some euphorbia, hostas, dahlias. I think the thing at the front is wallflower. I started then taking real good care of the lawn. I was about to launch a lawn care channel. I was really impressed with how I got the lawn in 1 season. Cordylines were absolutely fantastic until the beast from the east, and they've been halved since then. The tops died off on them. But I just kept filling bits in, like more lupins in there, a couple more hostas and things. The formium at the back just grew. And that comes on to the 4th point: read the labels, make sure that you're prepared for the size, because I didn't believe that plant would get to that size, and I'm glad I allowed the space for it to grow. Otherwise I'd have had to keep digging it up and moving it. The 5th point was feed during the season. So as you can see from this Insettia Morellii, it grows ridiculous in 1 season. Look at the size of that. That's because I gave it the right amount of food. It was in full sun, and I gave it chicken manure pellets, I gave it high nitrogen feed, I gave it seaweed, gave it everything. And this back section's the same: the T-Rex, the Ricinus, Donax. There's bamboos in the back, which is Fargesia robusta, and then the 2 different Ricinus at the front. Again, in hindsight, I would have moved the T-Rex probably about 1 meter back, because in season it kills the lawn in front of that, because it overhangs substantially on there. Covered the whole area in bark as well, just so it looked nice. This was the end of the year when I was getting everything ready to go back in. A back shot now, I think this was 2nd year, and you can start now seeing the transformations of the garden, of how that T-Rex went from looking like it was about to die to being a monster. All the formiums had filled out, and it started to really kind of take off. The black fence, I think, is a game changer. As you can see from the far panel on the right hand side, the difference between that and the black panels was amazing. Everything went really well. There's an awful lot of fluke that was involved with this, very little skill. Got no previous experience with gardening at all. Put all the LED lights in so I can light up the garden left, right and at the back. which is really nice when we have like family get-togethers and things like that. It's a nice additional feature in there, and it's also nice to see your garden on the night as well, and not just rely on it for the day. This was the same border in the second year. Again, second year for all the cordylines and the insetti just before I lost it when I was trying to overwinter it. The very last point that I'll make on this video, and I'll quickly run over them: so soil, evergreen interest, limit the tenders, read the labels for size, and feed during the season. The very last point that I'm going to make on those: last year everybody had an awful year with slugs absolutely destroying most people's collections because it was a mild winter and it was raining everywhere. I'm not going to be running around throwing slug pellets everywhere and beer traps and all the rest of it, because A, they stink. They can also hurt things like the hedgehogs and birds that then go on to eat those slugs. Is water interest. So this is the pond that my brother-in-law made for me for my 40th birthday, and it's absolutely fantastic. Pools all down the front like a nice water feature, and it's going to attract things like newts, frogs, which will go over the garden and they will pay their rent no problem by eating all of the slugs. Hedgehogs only eat slugs if they are starving, because they can get lungworm, is what I'm advised. So you're not going to rely on hedgehogs going around your garden hoovering up slugs left, right and centre. To be fair, we do get one that visits, and I hadn't seen one in years. So when people comment that tropical gardens no good for wildlife, it is. It's covered in bees and wasps throughout the year. Butterflies we get, dragonflies, hedgehogs, and a whole host of other things. I think this is like a damselfly or something like that, I'm not entirely sure. Got Colicoge esculenta, which is massive. The Muzabastu again is massive, and it always blows people's minds every time they come that you can grow banana plants in the UK. The border, once it's filled out, and a sneak preview at our garden tiki bar where we host all the family get-togethers when we're over, and it gives us a real sense of actually going out once you're in that bar. It's a fantastic little space. It's nice to have the bifolds open. But if you've got any questions, put them in the comments. If you want to know any of the names of any of the plants, put them in the comments. And as always, appreciate you watching, and thanks for the support. I'll leave you with me having a coffee last spring, the start of the season, enjoying all the hard work and getting ready for another year of graft. Thanks again.